Welcome back. Today, right now, this module is going to be a module that, if not taken seriously, will probably result in you hating this industry and you failing out of it, to be quite frank. So this is extremely important. Listen up here. This particular module is going to be on cross-selling, selling more than just the one product. Because it's great to sell one plan, but the reality of it is, in this industry, it's just not going to cut it. Right. So let's go into the numbers. Let's go into what I recommend cross-selling, why, and how to do it. To be quite frank, let's make it happen, Captain, right? So first of all, let's look at it like this. With these medical plans, you're on average going to be making about $20 to $25 per member per month. Now, that is going to come to you on an as-earned basis, meaning month to month. The member makes a payment, the insurance company sends money out to you. The member makes another payment, the insurance company sends money out to you. One at a time. Now, that's not always a bad thing. A lot of insurance agents love that advance. With this, an advance is kind of scary. The last thing you want is to have a debit balance rolling up to you or having to deal with some sort of issues with chargebacks because your members forgot to do something. It gets to be a pain in the ass. To be quite honest, I recommend taking business as earned as much as you can. Take the advance only in the rare situations when you kind of need it, right? So what I recommend, first of all, making $20, $25 a month on an application is just not really gonna cut it. So the first thing that I always recommend is looking at a dental product. Now, there's a few great dental plans that are available out there. The average dental commission is gonna pay you about $150 to $200 on an individual. And at that point, you're typically able to get a portion of that advance so you can make a little bit of money up front. That would be great. I also love selling cancer plans. Cancer plans are very inexpensive with a few carriers and the commission levels can be quite high. You can end up making, I don't know, $150 to $250 on a cancer plan and it would pay out in the next couple of days. And then God forbid if your member was diagnosed with cancer, remember a lot of these plans through the marketplace, your out-of-pocket maximum is like $8,500. So I always try to include some sort of cancer benefit because if something major happens, $8,500 is a lot of money, right? There are a lot of members, a lot of insurance brokers that also like to include hospital indemnity plans. God forbid if they ended up in the hospital, you can set a hospital indemnity up to pay either a lump sum or a day-to-day copay or a day-to-day amount while you're in the hospital. And on top of that, you can also have plans that cover doctor office visits. So God forbid if you need to see a doctor, you can have an indemnity plan pay a portion. Let's say you have either a bronze plan that doesn't have a copay to the doctor, or let's just say you have a high copay to the doctor. You can set a policy together so that if they see a doctor, the doctor would get paid by the copay, or rather I should say by the indemnity plan. The member would pay the copay, get reimbursed by the indemnity plan, and then everything would be copacetic, right? You're also able to do gap coverage. There's a couple companies that do an overall gap, which includes things like accident, sickness, critical illness, and accident, all rolled up into one bow. It's a cute little way of doing it, and I've actually seen some of these plans pay out 3-4 times what the ACA plan pays out, right? So if you're trying to make a little bit more money, obviously you're gonna wanna cross-sell. More importantly, when you explain the benefits to the member, just explain them without the extras and then explain to them what happens when you add the extras. So God forbid if you have cancer, Mr. Jones, you're looking at an $8,500 max out of pocket for that cancer treatment. And then God forbid, if that cancer treatment was to extend throughout the next year, you'd be looking at an additional $8,500 out of pocket. So let's go ahead and put together a $20,000 cancer policy. So God forbid, if this was to happen to you, you have everything covered. And in reality, that plan only costs you $35 a month. So let's go ahead and try to save, what, $17,100 by spending $35 a month. A lot of people are going to say, absolutely, sounds like a plan, right? Now, one other thing that's very important when it comes down to cross-selling. Now, this is a fact. So the more policies you have in a home, the higher your retention will be. Okay, it's something like 30 to 40% higher. So if you have that one policy in the home, you're typically looking at about a 30 to a 40% retention rate. If you add a second policy, you're typically able to bump your retention up to about 60 to 70%. If you're able to get a third policy in that home, you're typically in the 90 percentile. That client's only going to call you when they think insurance. That's the client you want, because you want the client that knows that if there's a health, life, dental, Medicare, annuity question, you call me before you call anyone else. And on top of that, make sure you do the same with your friends. They don't know who you know, and they definitely need to know who I am. So you let them know, and that's how easy this gets. Cross sales is not hard. You gotta make sure that you're just not tacking plans on. I definitely do not recommend the people that tell someone your price is $150, and the way that consists, it breaks down, it's $20 for your Affordable Care Act insurance, it's $70 for your accident plan, and another $30 for your dental. I'm not a fan of the bundling and unbundling. Please don't do that. For one, it's not all that legal. You can get in a lot of trouble for doing it that way. But the way that we are supposed to explain everything is how they're separate plans with separate billing and do everything correctly. You guys are licensed. Let's do this the right way. Okay, well, cross sales. Simple, very easy. Let's get on to the next subject. Peace.